Welcome, Chris Evans Radio. We are back with Little Dave, and last week we did Q&A off of my Instagram, and today we're doing it off of his. So we really appreciate everyone giving us questions, and if you guys can't tell, like we live for this shit. So please, when we post these, ask and ask the questions you want to know. But I
Yeah,
do want to put a disclaimer out there because all the time, I just had one of these yesterday. A guy reached out to me and said, "Chris, what's the ultimate bulking cycle?" And he's like, "I have all the information from my coach, but I want to get as much information from different people as possible." And I'm sure you feel the same way I do. That to me has always been the exact opposite approach that I'd want to take.
yeah,
If I'm
yeah,
paying, if I'm paying John, Shelby, Matt, someone to coach me, I'm listening to them and blocking everything else out. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be trying to still educate myself because I'm also a coach, but in terms of for me and my plan, like I'm not collecting data and trying to compare and contrast shit, you know?
exactly. Well, that's also like cherry picking what you like and trying
Yes,
to make a program based off things you like is going to lead you on a path to not being a complete bodybuilder.
agreed.
Like, how many people like training calves? Like, maybe 10% of the bodybuilding population.
Right.
If you like, this is an outward example, but if you work around, you're like, and you got someone be like, yeah, you don't need to train calves if you do incline treadmill walks. It's like, maybe that person doesn't, but you definitely do. And now you're going into there thinking like, oh, I can get away with this,
Yeah.
but it's like that's not the case,
No.
and
No.
that's where it comes to like when you're cherry picking information from like if you're gonna ask me, you're gonna ask Chris, you're gonna ask anybody on the internet about what they think of EQ, you're gonna get 47 different answers,
Correct.
and you're gonna the ones that are gonna stick to you, they're going to the ones that make sense, the ones closest to what you know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you're gonna only gonna run with that.
Yeah. It was interesting too about that is that question is first of all, you know me. I hate broad answer questions that require broad answers, right? Because I'm not a
Yeah,
broad kind of guy. Like I want to get nitty gritty with that shit. Okay, how much? What is a normal test dose for you? Okay, that could be 500. It could be 800. It could be 1,000. It could be 1,200, 1,500, like megs a week. So how can I say to you without knowing any of that information of where even to remotely begin with where you're at, and with honestly out knowing your previous drug history? Because let's say, for example, you've only done like Anavar. Okay, I'm probably not going to give you more than 400 to 500 megs of test in a week.
yeah,
There's so much follow-up questions that I need to know. And listen, if I'm speaking specifically about you, we've always been able to get away with less because your training in food is so damn on point. I'm saving those higher levels if we ever need them for when I do need to pull that trigger and be like, all right, you're stuck at 255 on stage weight. Okay, it's time to push that shit north. It's time to go to the next echelon.
yeah,
And I've always thought about drugs as a tool. And
yeah.
if you start out of the gate with everything or crazy high values, and where are you going to go with it? You've just essentially ceilinged one of your variables that you could change.
Yeah. I always like thinking about it like a car.
Mhm.
Like your performance enhancing drugs is like adding a supercharger, but your nutrition and your training is the engine in your fuel system. And if you don't upgrade that, you just throw in more supercharger, we all know what happens. You're gonna get internal detonation. That engine's gonna explode,
Yes. Yep.
right? So it's like, okay, cool. So but on the other side of things, if you continue working up your engine and your fuel system, you can get away with a fuck ton more
Right.
without even adding in a supercharger,
Correct. Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's and then when you do add a supercharger, everything else is already lined up. As long as you're not adding it like randomly,
Mm.
you're going to get a good noticeable increase from it
Right.
because all your ducks are already in a row. You're not trying to throw a supercharger on a fucking 97 Honda Civic,
Yep.
you
Agreed.
know? Like, okay, that might work for an hour, but then it might explode.
Yep. Yep. I'm going to say something highly controversial here that will make a lot of people pissed off. I would be willing to bet you, because I've seen the data on this. if I've taken guys and removed a singular training day, that does more for progress than taking drugs this way.
Yeah.
And guess what? A lot of times those guys had to take their drugs so north to match the recovery for training 6, 7 times a week that if we take the training down to 4 or 5, we can get away with less drugs and get more progress.
Yep.
Earth shattering.
But no
No,
one wants to take that step back to take a step forward.
fuck no. No, they want to scratch that ego with training 6 days a week. They want to shoot fucking 2 cc's of gear every other day. Like that's what's being shoved down so many people's throat. And I will always say this, like, no matter what your cycle is, if everything else around it isn't working in synergy, it doesn't matter. Because you and I have both seen guys and girls both alike who ram tons of drugs and have a physique of a someone I wouldn't even know trained
Yeah.
because it doesn't work standalone. You have to eat your meals. You have to train moderately hard. I'm being generous there, like to see any result. And then if you aren't resting, relaxing, keeping stress low, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Because we listen, we've all known even good pros that admit when their personal life is in chaos, they look like trash on stage. And it's not because they aren't hitting their meals and then because they aren't shooting their drugs and training hard. It's because here is elsewhere. And before we get into this Q&A, like that's the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway that there is. I wouldn't say there isn't like a rough template for a mass gaining cycle, so to speak. Like I think if you asked 10 of us experienced bodybuilders, we're going to say something similar. Like it's not going to be crazy different. But the biggest thing to me is like we all know that if training and nutrition is in place, the supplements, as long as they're real, we can get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
By getting away with a
I've
lot,
all
I'm not talking about the amount, by the way.
yeah, I've always laughed at this one. It's like, well, if you're nailing your training, you're nailing your food, you don't really have time to think about what other supplements to take,
Yeah. Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And if you got enough, you got your off season cycle and your test is, high for you,
Yeah.
and you have some sort of an anabolic in there, whether that, something in there as well. That's pretty much all you fucking need. You don't need any fancy or like orals are going to mess with your appetite. That's the biggest fucking thing. If you can't eat, you can't grow. And
Correct.
if you bring your supplements so high you can't sleep, you have anxiety, you can't sleep, you can't grow. It's like common fucking sense.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, I need to have my test to the point where I can't get out of bed in the morning because I'm so fucking tired. It's like, is that doing you any benefits there? You're just fucking shooting yourself in the foot.
Right. And then you can't get out of bed. So guess what? Your meal schedule's fucked the whole rest of the day.
Yeah. You're like, I can't get meal 6 in because I start meal 1 at 10:30 in the morning.
Correct.
Like, well, that totally makes sense.
If meal one doesn't come till 10, good luck go to bed before 1 or 2. Like
Yeah.
it's just the truth. If you look at it over the course of the day of a training day, off days, if your food's lower, I can understand you can get away with that. But if you have a 2.5, 3 hour window of like driving to the gym, training, cooling down, driving home from the gym, that time window doesn't work starting meal one at 10 or 10:30 unless you're going to stay up late and you've acclimated your life to that. So
Yeah.
all season drug cycle, that's where we started. Fuck.
I guess.
Take home, test, fucking pharma grade GH, some insulin. Well, maybe that third one might not be for you. Fuck. EQ, done. Call it a day. Maybe some Deca if it doesn't kill your dick. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Super basic.
So crazy, right?
But where's the DHB and the trestolone? Where's the what other compounds are there? The CJC DAX or the peptides in there. I mean, they have places, but it's like Jesus, like, growth hormones up here, growth
Yes.
hormone releasing peptide is somewhere in here, and
Right.
just being natty's like right here.
Correct. Yes. There's always that gray area, right? Where I'm like, hey, motherfucker, like, if this is natural, this is like Sarm Goblin fucking shit. Just come up here where the big boys are. Like, I promise, it's all of this is a waste of time. But
Yeah,
you just stay here or there. Like, yeah.
that one with the SARMs always makes me laugh because it's like we do know these are made by the pharmaceutical industry,
Yep.
and test is still made by the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
Like, and they've been making that and selling it since the 40s.
Right.
But they decided to make those SARMs and then they decided not to sell them.
Correct.
What does that tell you?
It means they're straight fucking garbage.
Yeah, they might work, but they're not going to work as well as something what they already have.
Yes.
And it's not like they're not trying to find new technology. Go
Yeah.
take a gander on the things they found for diabetics. Like they have insulin out there will last for 5 days.
Yes.
Like that long basal acting.
Yeah.
Just for normal people who don't want their that's for people without pancreases, functioning pancreases. Like
Yeah.
that would do terrible things for bodybuilding. But I mean, like that didn't exist, and like I mean, shit, in the '60s they were still using pig insulin.
Yes. Yeah. Were you coaching people when it was really popular for females to take Osterine?
Yeah,
Okay. I always would be like, why? Why? They'd be
yeah,
Christian. I'm telling you. I'm like, no. I'm
yeah.
just trust me. Low dose Anavar, 2 to 3 IUs of GH, maybe some Nolvadex at the end. I'm telling you, it'll result in far better look on stage. But Chris, like so and so pro, no, they're getting fucking kickbacks off those peptides, bro. Like, do you not understand? Use a discount code. Yeah, like, stop it.
But yeah, it's also there's like two like, considerations I have. Like if you can't get Anavar, or
Right,
the Anavar you do get is like Winstrol or D-ball because you got lied to.
right. Yeah,
Cool. Okay, maybe we'll think about using Austrian because like at least it's like. So, well, you also don't know if that's real or not. By the way, that's not a
yes,
any of that shit coming from China can be whatever it is,
correct. Yes,
you know. But I mean, that's kind of the only consideration there. Is like, okay, I guess we could use this if you can't get Anavar
right.
in, if worst case scenario. But it's like you probably should be able to.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, it's all that mess is just literally mess in my opinion. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
huge
so
mess.
now that we went into a 10-15 minute drug rant,
Yeah.
let's start with another drug question. All right, so all these are from Dave's Instagram, and the first one is GH and bloating issues. Is this common? What do you think?
Um, the first thing that tells me is you're using a generic.
Right. Yes.
Second thing that tells me is dosage is probably way too high to
Yes.
begin with,
Right.
or sporadic.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, with starting GH, I think the best place to have it is first thing in the morning
Yeah.
if you've never taken it before,
Right.
and then around the training window,
Agreed.
And most people are gonna be like, just take it all at night. It's like, well, that depends a ton.
Yeah.
It depends on your lifestyle. So once again, like I don't want to give a huge blanket statement there, but like
Yeah.
the bloating issues you might be having, it could just simply because it's not GH,
Agreed.
or you're taking a very high dose and you're not used to it. So you could try two things: cutting back on dose, or um, getting a different source.
That's exactly what I would say. Um, and I only say that because it used to be highly common that generics have diuretics in them. Like,
Mhm.
because they are terrified that it's going to make you puffy and bloated. You're not going to use it, so they put a diuretic in there. And if you have any allergy, which I do to diuretics, like it's going to cause weird shit in the body. So step one, change the source. Step two, change the time of the day or standardize the time of day. And as with most things, take half of what you think you need and see how you respond. If the bloating goes away, then you know it was either the source or the timing. And you just isolate each individual variable. And that's why we said first, like start taking it first thing in the morning or around the training window, change your source, see if it continues. If it continues and you change sources to a reliable source, drop it out completely, see what happens. If the bloating's still there, it might not be the actual GH causing it.
Yeah,
So it could be something as shitty as like you're mixing it with bad backwater, like something that most don't consider. So another variable or option.
yeah,
Or I mean, I guess the other way is you could just be everyone's body could respond differently to it. I've yet
yeah,
to see anyone hold water be bloated on Serostim. So fun fact.
yeah. Yeah, each one's a little bit different. I mean, like you're gonna have intramuscular water retention for sure,
Yes.
but if you're swelling in your ankles, something is wrong.
Mm, correct. Yes. Yeah. And I think too, like with bloating, I'm always going to look to diet first and stress second. Like that's what I'm going to next logically think. Like, what are you doing for vegetable sources? Do you have any dairy? Are you still using whey or whey isolate in your program? Like, is there anything in there that it's like low hanging fruit we can eliminate to see if that could also be causing the issue? So, yeah, pretty straightforward answer there. All right, next one. How does a general population or lifestyle client turn into a freakiest version of themselves?
Well, my favorite answer about this one
Yeah.
is if you're gonna be a bodybuilder, you're gonna do bodybuilding shit.
Yes.
Actually, one of my good friends, Britt, she just made a post. She is a lifestyle coach,
Okay.
and she just made a post about like bodybuilders and how different they are from lifestyle. I'll have to send that to you. She made a lot of great points as a life for people who are lifestyle clients. Like in all reality, like you're not gonna look like us if you don't look like do what we do.
Correct.
Like, oh, and this is time. Like I've got 10 years of eating 6 meals a day under my belt. Chris has 20.
Yep.
And that's consistently. That's not like, oh, I ate on a diet for 3 months and then fell off of it.
Right. Yes.
That's consistently for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
That's the side thing you don't see with a lot of the bodybuilders you do follow
Yeah.
is the time involved in that sport, right?
Yep.
So back to the lifestyle thing, right? Is consistency and time,
Yeah.
and then not giving yourself that out because you're a lifestyle competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times, or people I've worked with, it's just like they're like, "Well, I didn't feel like it today, so I just skipped all the things I'm supposed to do, and I did what I did. I did what I felt like." It's like, okay, let's work. Let's figure out why you did that, and move on. Like it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we didn't die, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And I totally understand life happens,
Yeah.
but at like in bodybuilding, like life happens, and we have to learn how to pivot with it.
Yes.
Like I know both of us actually have eaten meals at funerals,
Yes.
right? At my grandpa's funeral, I had a blended chicken and rice shake what I drank during the session,
And my
you
mom's
know,
at Johnson.
and yeah, and it's just like, did I want to do that? No, I wasn't. No, I did not.
Agreed.
Like, I didn't want to do that at all, but
Yeah.
it happened, and that was the end of it. There was no real thought about it. There was just like, okay, this is what happens at 1 p.m. is this meal, like yes, I could have made any excuse or whatever in the world for it. And that's kind of where that line differs for like your competitor versus the lifestyle.
Here's the way I look at it, and this may be jaded, but even though I would consider myself a bodybuilder, when I sit down to do business, I put my whole effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying I'm the greatest husband on the planet. I'm sure there's dudes that run circles around me, but when I'm there for my wife, I'm there for her. So I guess in my thought, I think that's where people get confused and conflated in my mind is just because you and I have a vision of getting on stage and looking crazy, that doesn't change from the person who wants to put on a bathing suit and turn people's head at the beach with their family.
Yeah.
It's just a different goal, and everyone else has different goals. I can't comprehend or wrap my mind around an adult male who would say, I don't want to look jacked and be strong as fuck. Strong as
Yeah.
fuck is relative, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
And so is Jack, right?
yes. Yeah.
I laugh at that one all the time because like I'm horrendous. Like I don't consider myself big or jacked,
No, I don't either.
you know? And
Right.
most people consider me big and jacked. And I'm like, no, no, I'm not even fucking sniffing that.
Right. Yeah.
Because like I'm comparing myself, like I've seen Flex Lewis in his prime. I've seen Jay Cutler. That's like the guys I'm like, these guys are pretty jacked,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so like versus like so your level of where that falls is also the level of your where things need to be, right?
Yep.
You don't need to be super extreme if your goal is not to look like Ronnie Coleman. If your goal is to be, have abs at the beach and have like, visible muscle, the things you need to do for that are very different than the things you need to do for this.
Yes.
They're the same things.
Yep. Yep.
The principles are the same, but how deep to the principles you have to do that
Yeah.
is where that magic happens. Like, and that's the like if I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show, like obviously, like meals are on point, training's on point,
Yep.
supplementation's on point.
Yep.
In the off season, I'm the same fucking way. That's why I make progress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and with lifestyle, if your goal is as like I'm not saying that I'm not talking down on that. Like
Yeah.
everybody's fucking different,
Yes.
but you don't need to be doing. You don't need to be like if your goal is just to be maintain a healthy shape. Like you probably don't even need to weigh your food.
Right.
You know, like there's different levels to that.
Yeah. Now, listen, I've trained in person. A majority of my early career as a personal trainer, I trained normal people. And even at the end, half of my day consisted of normal people. The ones who succeeded versus the ones who failed are the exact same kinds of people who once succeeded bodybuilding and the bodybuilders that fail. Those two groups are the exact same. The ones that followed their plan, the ones that did their cardio, the ones that came and trained as hard as they could when it was time to train with me. Those three things in both those groups are identical.
Yep.
Now, their plans differed, obviously, but it comes down to those three principles. Like, it always goes back to me is this. There will be, if you want to be lean, you're going to have to be hungry. And I know this Instagram world, people say that's not true, that you can go around, eat what you want and look great. Most of you cannot. The girls and guys who are saying that have extremely fast metabolisms, or they do so much fucking cardio that their feet hurt.
Yeah. Or they're metabolically like some people are just they you would not even guess how much active steps they have. You know, they get away eating more because they do more shit than you do.
Yeah.
Like there's a girl who trains out of she's a trainer at Butler and she goes on 10-mile hikes every day.
Right.
Right? Yeah, she can get away eating a crumble cookie if she wants to.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's
Yep.
fine. It does. Her metabolic expenditure is like beyond. It's up close to mine. Shit,
Yeah.
you know, just from movement, and it's like then you get the people who are like, "That's not fair. Why they have 4,000 steps a day?"
Right.
Like, do you not see what she's also just? And she works out 4 or 5 times a week.
Right.
You know, she's not just hiking. That's just her daily activity.
Correct. Yeah.
You know.
I think the answer to that question is first you have to determine to me what freaky is and chase it. And that's what I always tried to establish with anyone I worked with online or anybody I work with in person is determine what you view as freaky and then just every day chip away at that shit. It's the same thing that you and I do. You and I have a vision of what this is going to look like. And then I have a vision of what you're going to look like. And then I just help you to it. And every day,
Then it's just work.
Yes, yes, yes. It requires hard work and sacrifice because anyone who is, when I use the word freaky, to me means when you walk down the street or in the mall or on the beach, someone's going to be like, what the fuck? Or they're just going to double take and be like, that's not normal. He or she is not like everyone else. Yeah, you're right. Because I do things every single day that separate me from the normal. That's the answer. Follow a plan, train your dick off or ovaries off, and good shit happens, man. And then, like as you said, back to point one, it's gonna take longer than you assume.
Yeah.
So, and that's something as simple as like I think most people believe they can do a hard 10-week strict diet and get crazy lean. Most cannot. Most times it's gonna take 20 or 30, maybe a year. And then on the flip side of that, to gain muscle, oh my word, times it by 7 years.
Yeah, building muscle is so comically slow. That's like the funny thing. Everybody, it's really easy to sell fat loss because shit, we can make you lose 4 pounds a week. You know, that's be aggressive or whatever. Cool. That's in a month we're talking 20 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, that's a substantial difference. Building muscle, like you're not gonna even put on 20 pounds, like 20 pounds of muscle in a year is not happening. Weight, definitely, because you could put on 20 pounds of weight in a year. But like actual muscle tissue cut and dry, it's like you're topping out at like 15, 18 pounds there. If everything's perfect and you happen to have like everything dialed in. And when you look at that at the grand scheme of things, like, well, make it really basic, 50, 12 pounds a year of actual muscle tissue. which would be phenomenal. People would love that.
Oh yeah, agreed.
That's 1 pound a month. We've talked about this a million times. Pound a month, that's going to look to you like you're doing at Groundhog Day.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, cool. I ate my meals today. I trained my fucking face off.
yeah,
And I slept as I should. And I followed the plan. Nothing fucking happened. And I woke up and I did it again. And
yeah.
then, you know, 8 months later, you're like, wow, actually, it seems like and that's an 8 pound difference in muscle 8 months later at that rate of change. We were like, wow, so you got some little changes happening. Because it's not like all 8 of that pounds is in your arms.
No, right. Yeah,
That's throughout your body if you're training. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. But that's 8 months down the line where you actually have some noticeable change versus like dieting. It's like, oh, cool, 4 pounds a week, that's doable.
yeah, oh yeah.
Why did that? Why does everybody fall off in bodybuilding in the off season? Because of that. Because it's fucking Groundhog Day.
Yep, yeah. Not sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy, and you don't have immediate return on your investment.
Right. Yeah, because it's nice to like for those clients losing, a good clip each week. They're like, oh man, like Chris, like my belt hole went in the last 2 weeks, went in 2 holes. And it's like, yeah, like my clothes are falling off. My pants don't fit anymore. It's like, oh, you're noticing different. I got out of the shower. My wife was like, man, she really complimented me. Like, yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Not the other way. Like, it'll take forever for anyone to notice in terms of actual muscle gain. But the cool thing that I've always been able to tangibly track, as I know you have, is you'll get incrementally stronger week to week, month to month. And you just have to know, like, as long as that's happening and you're eating your meals, you're gaining muscle. It's impossible not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
that's the answer. What's his Dylan? Like that's the answer. Next, shredded. There is no one answer. Just embrace the suck and power through it. Yeah, I think most people don't ever get shredded. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. If you go to a local NPC store, there's like 2 people who are shredded.
yeah,
Tops.
yeah. And usually most of them are women.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Sad but true. Sad, just sad. All right, let's see. Let's see. Why does everyone want to know the secret answer to building muscle? Because they think it's easy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I assume. Like,
Yeah.
or as you and I always say, like they think we're holding all the secrets and no one gets to know until you become a part of us.
Yeah. It's like Fight Club. We're actually not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
We have all this. Once you're above 220,
Right.
you're allowed into the club,
Right.
and we give you all the secrets. But the main thing you got to do is not tell anybody smaller than you.
Correct. Right. You'll get the like secret anadrol shit that doesn't make your stomach hurt, and you can just eat 100 mgs a day. That's the secret.
Yeah.
No, I think because that's what we're propositioned with on the internet too, right? Like they're like, oh, like I have the plan. You buy my plan, like they've cracked some code or secret or cheat and or hack, whatever you want to use as the fancy buzzword. And it's because what you and I sell isn't sexy, as we just said. It's just not. It's brutal, it's hard, it's relentless, it doesn't turn off. You don't get to wake up one day and decide not to eat tomorrow. You don't get to go into the gym and just fluff around. And I don't think people want to think that. I think they want to believe that they can achieve it in 12 weeks and blink an eye and take a pill, shoot a shot, and there it's there. And it's just not, sadly.
Yeah.
When you do this long enough, consistently, you realize that, hey, I just have to repeat this process and refine it as I age and as my body adapts and changes. And once you realize that, then you have the secret. But by that time, most people have quit and they just think they didn't have it, or no one gave them the right guidance, or they didn't have the right drug or supplement. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my sad, like depressed mind thought. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong though.
it's like I told you, right? Like, there have been many times where people have been like, Chris, like, why do you still chase bodybuilding, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, I'm still waiting for that one off season where my back just blows up and it matches the rest of my body. Like I'm just too scared to like wake up one day and be like I'm done. And like, what if I just needed that one more workout to unlock all the secrets, all
Yeah.
the potential? Like, that's why I keep chasing it, man. Like, yeah.
I think that's the main reason is there's no actual end goal.
No, there's not.
That's the reason we keep chasing it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that stuck out to me growing up. So I actually graduated from high school with a 4.0.
Oh wow.
And one of the things my dad told me, like, he's always been really blunt. It's probably is a great thing. But he's like, hey, you could have tried harder because if you tried harder, you probably wouldn't have passed everything with an A. And that, like, it sounds like a dick, but at the same time, he's not wrong, right? Because if I did something that was really challenging, I would have failed at it, right?
Right. Yes.
And that's bodybuilding. I can't tell you how many times, like, fuck, all right, cool, I took dead last, right? You know,
Yep.
you work your way up, and like that's just life,
Yes.
right? If you're constantly excelling at it,
Yeah.
you're not challenging yourself, and that's where that's bodybuilding is fun for me because it's a challenge,
Yeah. Yep.
you know, and it always will be. It's not like there's something with like it just gets easier,
Yep.
you know. The more you train, the more you have to work around random shit what comes up,
Yep.
you know, and that not everything's gonna be, you know, rainbows and sunshine. So it's like, you know, it's like that's why I love this. It's because it's a constant challenge.
Right. And I think that's why it drives us crazy when we see things like people post, here's a set to failure, and then it's not really to failure. And it's like,
Yeah,
hey, do you know what failing is? It means you don't complete the rep with your own force.
yeah,
Like, if I pull it off of you, it's still failure. Did you complete it? Yes, but I had to pull the weight sled, elbows, fill in the blank. Because I feel like it's a resurgence of these people posting like, "Oh, check out this set to failure," and I'm like, "No, you did the last rep. It was slow, but you did it. Like that's not
yeah,
failure. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Or the immediately as soon as they hit that sticking point, they go back down.
Right?
Immediately, they're like back down.
Oh, yeah.
There's no struggle. As soon as they have to hit that struggle point where that force is the same as it's going up as it's going down,
Yeah.
they just give up and they're like failure. It's like, well, I okay, but like you may have actually been able to do that. Your muscle's still recruiting muscle for it, like tension,
Yep.
while that's all happening.
Yes.
Like I've seen people dig like we've seen it with deadlifts. That bar fucking stops, and then that person just starts going, you
Yes.
know, and that's like a grind. It's like a 10-second grind.
Oh yeah.
They still got the rep,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like that other person just they hit that wall and stop, and they're like, oh, that was it.
Yeah. I'll give you a great example. One of the times I went and trained legs with John, we were doing leg press, and it was the highest weight we used, and he was like, I want you to just go until I tell you to stop. I said, okay, cool. Like, I had no clue what I was going to do. I think it was like 9 plates aside. So I went until I started hitting a pretty serious sticking point. I would get through it, but it's slow. He's like, okay, cool. Use your hands now. So hands on my knees or quads, whatever you're going to say, starting to push. Once that started to get awful, he was like, okay, 5 breaths. Take 5 breaths. Not racked, just legs almost straight. Take 5 breaths. Okay, cool. Hands off your legs. Got 2 or 3 more. All right, use your hands. 2 more. Cool. Now I'm going to help you. And he, like, through that, I can't remember how many reps. Sadly, we didn't get it on film. Like, I think I ended up doing probably like 16 or 15 more reps than when I think most people would have said that was failure because I started to hit that point where the weight wasn't going to go all the way up. And he's like, no, use your hands. And then by catching my breath, taking those 5 deep breaths, I got some more. Then with him, so I think like it's really interesting is, you know, you and I have been fortunate enough to be in those situations where someone's shown us that to know like
Yeah,
those 15, 16 reps had assistance, but we were digging the new places. Like, and it's really hard for me to sit back and look and watch these sets that are some failure, but they aren't.
yeah,
It's like, bro, you've never been there. Like, please, like, you should be eating your knees to where you have to roll out of that thing or
yeah,
use your legs and push up.
yeah.
So, all
Well,
right.
people are so scared now to get like a little bit off form,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and it's comical because I'm a huge fan of correct biomechanics
Agreed.
or just proper form, right? To use less long words,
Yeah.
you know, not to make things sciencey.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, like if you're training by yourself, you have two choices. You can either stop the set or you can slightly adjust your form to continue going. Like you said with your hands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
cool. You might be getting a little tricep out of that, but it's not like it's gonna fucking matter,
No.
you know. But the thing is, you got a lot more time under tension with your quads
Oh yeah.
and a lot more work done.
Yes. Oh,
You know,
and
versus like if you stopped that set right when it was like, okay, I hit that sticking point and stopped,
right.
there was so much left on the table. Like you said, you just got 16 more reps than you thought you would.
Right.
Like
And
that's
my quads were on fire. I mean, they were
yeah,
trashed after that.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really hard for me to like distinguish between that and I mean, which is why I think we do this to like hopefully bring the light to people. Like the next time you're in the gym, like if you're still positively moving that rep, it's not failure. You're
yeah.
you're not done. And especially if you're accelerating through the mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
If you still have acceleration, like no, you're not. It's just burning really bad and you don't want to take that pain anymore. Sorry. Like it is what it is. All right, let's see. Next one. If I do a magazine workout, can I look just like you?
Well, I guess if you did it a lot,
Yeah.
yeah, you got really good at it.
Yeah. Fun. I mean, my early bodybuilding, I did nothing but workouts from Flex and MD. Like
Yeah,
my buddies and I, we get the issue. We come in, we look at it, and we just repeat those. So if it was there's a J Color chest workout, it was Branch Warren legs, Ronnie Coleman back. We just did that the whole month. And then when the next magazine came out, we did the same. We just changed our workout. So I progressed and I had fun. So that's all I cared about. Um,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah. People honestly, people freak out about that progressive overload so often. They're
yeah.
like, "Oh, I switched exercises. I'm not going to progress." Like, body doesn't give a flying fuck. Doesn't know what a leg press is.
No, no.
As long as you do something difficult in the same plane of air, like force
Yeah.
or similar,
Yeah.
it's gonna respond. Like,
Agree.
oh, someone's on the hack squat. Okay, I'm gonna go use a Smith machine. You didn't just halt your progress.
No.
You didn't make zero gains that day, right? It's like, you know,
I
that
bet
one always
too.
gets me. It's like, you did just fine.
I bet too. You'd wake up the next day and you'd be even more sore because of the different
Yeah,
trainers. Like, and I'm not also encouraging you to go just randomly pick exercises at will, but you and I have trained at many gyms before, and we didn't give a flying fuck what we did. Like, we just want to go in there and train hard and have fun. And if they didn't have a specific piece that we needed or someone was on it, okay, we'll find something else. We're not idiots.
yeah,
Like, yeah. I mean, now obviously when you go to a gym that has cool toys, like we're going to use it. I guess too, like that's what always gets under my skin with the progressive overload guys. Like, oh, well, that gym had a really cool prime extreme row, but my plan said barbell rows. And I'm like, you could have done that extreme row. Like, just use the
yeah,
pronated grip.
yeah. Your body has no idea what it's doing.
Right.
It's doing what you tell it to do.
Yeah. They're like, we removed all the fun from bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Like, I,
yeah,
I know, for example, like, because you've been posting that new gym you're at, like, I'm sure it's been fun as hell getting into those new machines and equipment and like
yeah.
it almost I'm not saying it breathes life into your bodybuilding, but it's refreshing, it's fun, it's exciting. It's like, oh man, like I mean, I messaged you, I was like, man, how heavy is that damn leg press? And you're like, it's a ton.
Yeah, it was stupid heavy, and and it was banded. We like, oh my goodness, that thing was like at the top end. That thing, like, we're like, oh, let's throw some bands on it and see what just because it has band pegs welded onto it, like from
Okay.
the factory. I was
Okay.
like, well, it'd be rude not to use these.
Yes, great.
So, like, I might as well throw it in. That saves us from putting a plate or two on.
Right.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude, that thing was like, we got to 6 plates aside for our top set. That was like comically heavy.
Right. Yep. Yep. That's the one you posted?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell when you interact that and do a first view. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, that's not a light load. No, it's kind of like that. You posted that hack squat. I don't know if that's from the same gym or not,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah. Same gym.
I think you had what, four? I can't remember, 3 or 4 or 5 plates. I can't remember.
Five, yeah, 5 plates on it. Ah, dude, that thing is stupid heavy.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny because I was like kind of going back and forth between 4 and 5, and I was like, we'll just go with 5.
Right.
But like, it's we have the Cybex, the original Cybex at Bronson's at Butler,
Uh-huh.
which is also really heavy because it's a steep angle.
Right.
But then like the Icarian hacks are like a less of an angle, And like that one, I can do 8 plates, no problem. But it's just like hilarious because it's like this one's just smooth as butter, but it's like it's just heavy.
You know that's like a prep from friendly leg press and hack squat because you
Yeah,
don't have to load a lot of plates.
yeah,
That's what I always think about. Like, yes, it can be a calorie burn, but sometimes you don't feel like loading 16 motherfucking plates to do a set of hack, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's always a fun part. Yeah, getting up to that weight is always like, all right, cool. That was a big waste of energy.
Yeah, right. Yes, right. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see here. If you only had 30 minutes 3 times a week to train, what would you focus on? Cardio, weights, both.
Honestly, just weights.
Same.
I would just figure out ways to walk around more
Yeah,
in my day to day. Whether that, like, if I'm stuck at the office all day, I'm gonna put a headset in and just do laps around the office, get my steps in
agreed.
while talking to people on the phone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If I'm stuck at a computer, I'm gonna get a standing desk, maybe a platform treadmill.
Yep.
Once again, you can do cardio at any time you want,
Agreed. Yeah.
or just simply walk more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I would also instinctually think that like you could find some time to do hit,
Yeah,
even if it's with your wife. Fun fact.
the
Shit.
best form
Hey,
right there.
yeah, you're damn right. And then like I think to be specific about weights, like so if I have 3 days a week, I'm doing push pull legs, and I am not doing a ton of exercises. I'm doing the least amount of exercises till I get the most amount of sets in there.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'd pick 1 or 2 exercises per body part and you just gotta go. It's gotta be fast. Like you can't
yeah,
fuck around. Um, yeah, and that's just what I would do. So yeah, what you said with the cardio, I think is spot on. You just have to find ways to be active. Even if that means walking on your lunch break, if you have a sedentary desk job where you're trapped behind a computer all day. Um, and then yeah, for workouts, you got to be time efficient. It's headphones on, it's no talking. Like I mean, for legs, shit, man, I'd probably do leg curl, adductor, and some kind of press or squat.
yeah,
For I wouldn't that yeah, literally that'd be it. For back, I would do pull ups or a pull down, a row, and some kind of deadlift.
yeah,
Or I have to do a bicep curl in there. Fuck. It's 30 minutes, I could probably do all 4 of those.
yeah. Oh yeah, easily. Me always do like a giant set for legs too.
Yes, agreed.
You
I
know,
mean, push is so
leg
easy.
curl, front squat, hack squat, back squat.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And then for push, I'd probably do an incline press, a flat press. I would superset a rear and a side lateral, and then I'd do a dip.
Yeah,
Done. Like that will be my workout. So yeah, we just laid it out for you. Let's see. Next one. In your own words, what does love mean to you?
that's a good question.
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
We were
All
expecting
right.
mid
Well,
questions. I didn't preview that one.
right. Yeah. That's same. Uh, well, it kind of comes down to why you're doing something, right? Like you can tell me and Chris both love bodybuilding because of our actions, right? Love is not a noun; it's a verb. So it's what you're doing, not what it is. So
Yes.
it's not a thing, but it's a doing. Um, so like with bodybuilding, we obviously love it, so we apply things to it to progress and do our thing that way. I mean, with other people, that's going to come down to that as well. It's the same concept, just different. Like your wife or girlfriend knows you love her by your actions. How you treat her, how you treat yourself. That's going to be what I'm going to say there.
I think to piggyback off everything you said, love to me means you're willing to sacrifice comfort or your well-being for the other thing or person,
Oh
right?
yeah,
We love bodybuilding. You and I don't love being hungry. We don't love eating until we feel like we're going to throw up. Like, I also don't always love doing all the things that keeps my wife happy. Like, for
yep,
example, I just took a break from helping rebuild our deck. I don't love that.
yeah,
But it's going to make her smile and happy. And
yeah,
that's why I do it. Like,
yeah,
so I think sacrifice is a big thing to me. I also think that when you love something, it's effortless.
Oh yeah.
Like it, and I'll use our exact relationship. I'm not saying everyone who has a successful marriage has to be this way. I didn't fight with my wife for the first 5 years we were together. I didn't. It was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And it was easy and it was smooth. And she respected me for who I was as a human. And I did the same for her. And it was literally effortless. Very
Yeah.
similar to the way, you and I have always said on here, no one makes us do cardio, weight train the way we do. We choose it and we love it and we don't complain about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying there aren't days that are hard. There are days that are hard in my marriage, days that are hard in my business, days that are hard that make bodybuilding harder, but that's life. So I think like,
And it's always fun too, because those hard days are what make you appreciate the good days.
yes,
You know,
agreed. Yeah,
like the times in your diet where you're stuck eating, egg whites and sugar-free ketchup taste like a fucking cheat meal.
yeah,
That gets the when you start your off season again, you're like, wow, I get oatmeal.
right.
Like that shit is not. It's not even a big fucking change, but you're like, this is the best fucking thing on the planet. Like you're legitimately excited, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Would not be excited if if it didn't change.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed, agreed. So what you just said there, you get, let's say you had oatmeal, but you get to add some like almond butter and banana to it. Oh, it's like fucking candy.
Yeah,
I will also say this when in speaking about love, and I think people throw that around too loosely. The amount of people who are like, "Oh, Chris, I love you," and I'm like, "Do you?" Like,
you have no idea, right?
right? Like that's fucking bullshit. Like, because to me, if I'm going to tell someone I love them, it means that I'm willing to jump in front of like a bullet and lose my life over.
Yeah,
And that's a small group of people. Or I think a lot of people just throw that fucking term out to everyone who's nice to them or, whatever. Like when I looked at my wife and I told her I loved her for the first time, it's because I meant it. Like, and I don't know, this says about my personality. I've only said that to two women outside of people I was related to.
yeah,
Like, and the first one was probably not what real love was. That's what I thought it was at the time. So it's like, I hold that term very like tight to my body, and I just don't throw that shit around. Like,
that's the same exact way here.
yeah. I mean, that took a turn for the grim there, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So,
But I always think that like, because I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I love him," or "I love her," "I love." I'm like, do you? Like, you jump in front of a bus to save their life? Would you
yeah.
do?
Or the opposite side of the thing, they're like, I love bodybuilding, and 2 weeks later, they're like, I needed a cheat meal. I needed a break. I needed to get off plan. I can't bodybuild anymore. I was like, I thought you loved it.
Right. I mean, I'll give you a good example, right? Like, let's say you and I are standing near a river, Daxon falls in that bitch. I'm throwing you my phone and jumping in after him.
Yeah,
End of story. There is no second thought. I must save his life, even if I need to lose mine. At the same time, with bodybuilding, I don't care what my emotions say. I
yeah,
don't need a break. I need to find the way through this shit. And
mm-hmm.
the shit may be the last little bit of body fat. It may be this extra 2 pounds of muscle. It may be these extra 3 reps that I know are there, but are going to be excruciating. Once you love something, embrace that shit, lean into it full throttle, and don't look back, bro. Like, yeah, it's kind of my thought process.
Exactly.
All right, let's see here. If I feel recovered to hit a muscle in 4 days, up frequency instead of the usual 6 days.
Well, that depends, but the I would say probably upper frequency for sure, or attack your intensity.
Correct. Yep.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say if also assess your body, right? Like I know, for
yeah,
example, my shoulders recover really quickly.
mhm,
I don't need to increase frequency of shoulders.
yeah,
Like if the body part is a weakness or something you're truly working on, if it's recovered, yes, but is the body part recovered or is your whole body recovered? And I think that's something else
yeah,
to really consider. Like, and when I say that, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Chris, my legs are sore. I can train arms. Well, of course you can. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you and I both know that feeling when you wake up and you're like, I need a rest day.
Yeah.
Or those days, our chest may not be sore. Could we go train arms? Yes. Could we? Like, and I think that's something that I think a lot of people don't like take into consideration is they're so quick to increase frequency that sometimes that isn't the answer. Now, on the other side, if you wake up and you're ready to rip and there's no reason you couldn't train, by all means, go for it. So I'm not going to try to stand in your way either.
Definitely agree there. Well, I mean, also, yeah, you got to take a gander at how your recovery is too. I mean, it's just like, if after that 4 days, is your muscle still pumped?
Yes.
Like, does it still have that fullness from the training, or is that gone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Another valid point. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of variables there, but like it could be mixture of a couple different things. But
I know I've said this to you. I don't know if I ever said it online. Like when John reduced my training to 4 days a week, I was going so fucking hard on those 4 days that I couldn't do another one. So I, it, when I have reduced frequency, I almost increase the sense of urgency on the body. Like,
yeah,
I know you're the same way. Like, so that's something to consider. So, as you said, like maybe you can add some intensity or maybe not necessarily frequency, but maybe some volume to that body part. Now,
yep,
don't take that and go crazy with it. Don't say I said you go do 40 sets of biceps, but like,
yeah. That's if you're doing 12 sets, you would go to 13.
and you make that 13 one the death. Yeah, that's the answer. Let's see. We have two more here. Um, have air conditioning at all? I don't know if that's a question. Like, I guess that's maybe do you have air conditioning?
Yeah, you definitely should. If it's hot outside.
All right, I'll tell you this. I want air conditioning in my car. I want it in my house. I don't want it at the gym.
Yeah, the gym needs to be warm. It shouldn't
Yes.
be cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it being crazy hot's not terrible. Like honestly, like I've trained in the gym when it's at 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of nice.
Agreed. Less time to warm up. Your joints feel
Yeah,
great. And when you're done, it's very rewarding. Like that's how I
yeah,
look at it. Like now I've never trained at like Metroflex where Branch and Johnny train at. I hear that's absolute hell. Um,
yeah.
but
Texas would be. I've trained in a gym in Vegas without AC,
okay.
and that it was 115 in there during in July.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like that. There's no way it's getting worse than that.
No. I know. No. I worked out in multiple gyms in the middle of summer with no AC and had no issue. I just had to bring
Yeah,
extra clothes to change into to go home.
extra clothes, extra water.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Definitely extra water. Um, I just normally just doubled my intra, filled it with
Yeah,
tons of ice. By the time the workout was halfway over, all the ice was melted and the drink was still cold. So, yeah, air conditioning. But I couldn't sleep with no AC. I'm not that hardcore.
no.
Like, no, thank you. All right, last one here. How to survive leg day in severe high temperature when your gym doesn't have air conditioning? Oh, that might have been the same question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If your
You
gym
just
doesn't,
do.
yeah,
Good
pull
thing we
the
already went over that.
pull the damn tampon out.
Yeah.
So-
Be uncomfortable for a little bit.
yeah.
Like if you can't deal with being uncomfortable from it being a little hot, I can't imagine you're dealing with a lot of training stress.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, in Virginia, it was we played football in 2 days in the middle of the summer for hours. I worked outside doing landscape with my dad all summer long as a kid. Uh, I you just get used to that shit. Sorry, like I think you just don't think about it. Like it goes back to if you have to train in that environment, you just make the best out of it, right? Like it's 60 to an hour, 60 to 90 minutes. Yeah. Take a cold reg for your neck, maybe. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
don't wear
Yeah.
a hood.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be Kai Green wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, I mean, if that was me, I'm gonna have like a loose fitting like probably cool gear shirt on or a tank top and some shorts that aren't sweatpant material, like because I'm just gonna have swamp ass if it's that. I'm gonna get some kind of dry fitting clothes and just be chill with
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
don't I don't think you put much thought into it, bro. Like I know that might not be the answer you want to hear. I guess you could change gyms, like if it's that terrible. I don't think you and I really have much sympathy for stuff like that.
No.
There's people that have it way worse. At least you get to train legs.
Yeah.
And if you still get to squat, I'm envious of you. So I'll take your heat and able to squat all day long. Put
Yeah.
chains on my fucking back. I'll throw up in the trash can until I can't see straight.
Right.
I will welcome that. Yeah.
Super true.
Any final thoughts there?
That's pretty much it.
So it's Sunday. I was a dick multiple times, so that's a good day.
Yeah.
I think like as a whole, like I know you and I both really appreciate everyone who gives us these questions. We do take them serious, but we are going to give you the brutal truth and how we see it. Like when someone
Yeah.
asks me these questions, it's like if we were just riding down the road and you asked it to me, it's how what I'm going to say to you. So
Yeah.
I don't really have politically correct answers always because that's
No. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, we're just going to be brutally honest. Like it is what it is. It's like if someone asks, like, in the bodybuilding realm of things, am I lean enough? It's a yes or no question. It's not, am I being nice or not? It's not your, like me, my girlfriend asked me if this shirt makes her look baggy, right?
yes, yeah,
No, nope. It's like yes or no question. And there's, with bodybuilding, there's a realm of what needs to be,
yes,
right? So is your leanness there? All right, no, you're not. You still have more work to do. It's not, we're not being dicks there. It's just, it, right? If your goal is to, go 100 miles an hour and you're going 80, you still can, saying you're not going fast enough is just a fact. It's not a derogatory statement.
I think a lot of times too, like people just need to look in the mirror and like really self-reflect. And instead of pointing around, it needs to be pointing here. Like if the fat's not gone, if you aren't big enough, that's a you issue. It's not a
Yeah.
coach, it's not a plan. Because you and I know you have, I know that I have. I've created plans that are gold on paper. And if the client executes at 60 to 70%, the results are mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Uh, and I look like I'm an idiot. It looks like I'm the one that don't know what they're doing, where
Yeah.
I will argue till I'm blue in the face that a suboptimal plan performed at 100% will do better than a amazing plan performed at 60 to 90
Yeah.
all day long. And to go back to that secrets question, that's our secret.
Yeah. Well, it's just like if you're building a house and you get a blueprint for it, you're building a deck outside, right?
Yes, yes,
Right. There may be some places like, oh, it might be easier to put this deck post here instead of here. Is it going to do the same fucking thing? Might be easier to, but is it going to be is it going to be structurally sound? You know, just because it's easier doesn't mean it's better. Like there's a reason why it's that way on the plan.
correct. Yes,
And doing something to, like, if you're building a deck and right, the game plan is this, and you're not going to go fuck around. You're not going to be like, oh, we need to, the 3-inch screws. Hey, I'm going to save some money. I'm going to buy like half inch. That's not going to fucking work.
no, no. Yeah, and trust me, I know because my hands are literally raw. We dug out over 832 nails from our previous deck before we could even start taking boards out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know exactly what you said, man. It's like it's I think in this world and climate that we're in where there's so much like gray area and people being nice and politically correct that when you come into this bodybuilding world, it's like, no, there's definite hard answers for
Yeah.
things like you said. Are you big enough? No. Are you lean enough? No. Is your posing good? No. Did you hold your stomach in? No. Like
Right.
very easy check offs. Like and you notice there, I didn't ask any question that's not completely under your control.
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah.
of
We didn't ask you what your eye color was.
no. We didn't ask if your prep was hard. We
Yeah.
don't care and no one does.
No. Yeah. Especially not the judges. That one makes me laugh. It's like, exactly. It's a bodybuilding contest. It's not a suffering contest. Yeah, you might have to suffer to do whatever, but like just because you had, zero carbs for 3 weeks doesn't mean you worked harder than someone who didn't.
I mean, I think some people might look at the plan that I just gave you this morning and be like, man, that's easy. Okay. Did you know what we had to do to get here? Like, it's not also easy walking around with striated glutes for fucking 10 weeks, like 12 weeks, 13 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
not easy. Like, but again, another side tangent there. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that Q&A. That's two in a row, and I really feel like we got in some good questions both the last time and this one. So we did a little bit more rapid fire today. But again, if you guys have any other questions, post those in the comments below. We will be happy to answer them. And next week we'll come back with a topic of interest and dig into that. Until next time, Chris, Little Dave, we are done.